All hail the Clicks crew. Alright guys, today, coming as a special guest with me on the Mr. Clicks Flicks YouTube channel is Edward Sheldon, Dark Logos himself from Starting Over podcast. So thank you again for joining us on the channel, Edward. I can't tell you how popular you are with some people. I always get comments about, when's Ed coming back on? So thank you for joining us again.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, so why don't you tell the two or three people that don't know anything about you, who you are, and where maybe they can find you at.
I'm doing Starting Over podcast on YouTube. Pretty much, I've been running summer school on top of doing a little mini role playing game thing with the kids I work with, and just trying to get a debate program off the ground for its first year. So. And taxes. So brother's been busy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So things have been rough. I've been farming inside an apartment, and the tears and the joys of that, and watching your stuff get killed by fungus gnats.
Oh no.
Oh I'm I have lost almost all my tomato plants to fungus gnats. I have 4 that survived.
Oh
it's
no.
sad. Yeah, I'm up to 50% crop loss now.
Oh no. I just planted my tomatoes and peppers the other day, and tomorrow I'm planting beans. So, not that this is a gardening show. I mean, we could make it a gardening show, but
it's not the gardening channel.
But that's oh man, it's tough. Once you get something like that, it's hard to grow anything. But
my potatoes are coming in, but
that's Yeah, things kind of slid sideways for me too. I did every day a video every day for the month of April, and then just was like, okay, peace out for May. Good luck.
That's how it goes with those challenges.
Yeah,
they're like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah,
I proved that I can do it.
Yeah,
I need a 2 break.
Right. That's basically what happened. So all right, so we got a few cool things lined up to talk about today. So we're just going to jump into the deep end, I guess, because the thing we were pretty excited to talk about was U.S. Nationals and Worlds, and how everything seems like it's we're doing it in October. So go ahead.
Let's start with it. And you have what I call the Great Shuffle. Mm-hmm. So you had Rocktober move to August, which... I'm I understand and don't, but it's more than likely WizKids sort of doing the Darth Vader deal.
Yeah,
it's we've changed the degree of the terms. Pray that we don't change them again. You know, where you literally lose your namesake, so that Daddy WizKids can guarantee make their money, because they know if they set up in November and December, they're not going to get player base.
Right.
They already know it. They already saw with PAX in comparison to all the other stuff. And then also, if they're going to be at Graceland Christmas, I don't know if that's a thing. You're going to have to start competing with other things that are going to be in that venue. It's going to be more popular in November and December. So it's going to be harder. So they would have their last date or month to actually do something would have been October. So anyway, going back, you got Rocktober and August, which, there's Rocktober. And then Origins should have just took the L this year and said, look, we missed our window, we're done. But nah, they just said, we're going to push it back to October.
Yep.
And I'm just like, oh gosh, this is the problem. So it's the same weekend as Worlds?
I think it's real close. It might be the same weekend. I don't have it sitting in front of me, but I was I remember seeing it and I was like, man, that date seems familiar and real close. And then I looked at it, I was like, oh man.
Yeah, it's the same weekend.
Yeah.
So what I looked at is WizKids is between a rock and a hard place, because if they show up to Origins, they're just going to be a booth. They're not going to have all that con space that they had. And what sucks is with those setups, how much you get your space based off of how much space you had the previous year. Did you use all your space, and what was your volume like? So missing a year can be a kick to the junk, because all of a sudden you may lose, 100 square feet or for 20 or 30 tables worth of space. I'm not 30. Let's be all right, like 20 tables worth of space.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of a sudden, because you just weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be it. And then also is like, think about your volunteers that show up and run things, and think about your staff that shows up and run things. They're not going to split their attention between two locations.
Right.
They're going to double down on their own event where they make 100% of their money instead of 70% of their money.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships be darned.
Right. Yeah, I think they're in a bad spot. As far as like what I think maybe they should do is, I know nobody liked it when they did it in the past, where it was like US Nats and Worlds were like in the same weekend. But I think they just got to bite the bullet this year, do it at Graceland, like US Nats, extended a day. I don't care what you do. Make them the same day and be like, listen, guys, this isn't going to be... Tell everybody up front, by the way. Don't wait until after the event. Just be like, listen, this is a one-year deal. This is what we're doing just to get it in for you. And then I understand what you said about like skipping Origins, like it's bad. It's going to decrease their space. They could either try to rent it out knowing that they're going to take a hit on it, or they could talk to a venue and just be like, hey, would you host U.S. Nationals next year? Kind of like do Graceland, but somewhere else in the summertime.
Ooh. So here's my thought. Like, they're not going to take a hit.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say they're not going to take a hit is because NECA as a parent company is failing.
Right.
And WizKids is the only thing that's doing gangbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if it comes down to anybody losing money, NECA's like, nope. And they will cut off that arm to save the rest of that body to keep it afloat.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, yeah, they're not going to be at Origins. That's my bet. And if they do, they're going to be booth only. And I mean, like, maybe even negotiating down for a small booth. And then just explain to them, it's like, look, we already had these events planned. We initially planned for everything to be in, technically like a week from now, a week or two from now, we would have had Nats. But that's not going to happen because of the C virus.
I don't care.
Okay.
Take my 3 cents that this video will make. Whatever.
Yeah, the doobly doo.
The coof. Or Modelo cough or whatever.
Yeah, the Modelo virus. I heard.
Yeah.
One of my guys called it Modelo virus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because,
yeah.
YouTube is still stupid about the whole thing. And anyway, but like if they're not going to lose money on Nats, so they're going to go and just exit for a year and just try to smooth it over with Gamma, and maybe next year they have to like pat them on the back and give them a back rub or something to get their space back.
Yeah, I think. Like, once Origins gets rolling, WizKids area is always, like, full to capacity. So I think if they went down to, like, a small table or something, I think they draw enough of a crowd, at least in my opinion, to where the next year they're going to be like, yeah, you can just have all your space back, like, extenuating circumstances. But, I mean, you never know. Sometimes these places get a little chapped for what you would think is no reason. But,
right.
Yeah.
And even more so, if I was to pick, just at random, the place where I would want to be while a global pandemic is going around, if I had to pick a con, if I just had to pick a con, I would not go to the one with several thousand more people at it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest, like, what? The WizKids in Graceland is what? 500 people max?
Yeah.
Like, I don't see it over 500 people.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll take that over 3,000 to 4,000 people. Now, Jay Major, feel sorry for you, man. Like, won't be seeing you in the Worlds this year. You got to make that Origins money. It's either Jay or Jalen. One of them got to stay and run the store.
Somebobody's doing it.
Someone's staying and running the store. Who's it going to be?
Man, that'd be tough. I'd love to hear that fight.
Oh yeah, it's like I'm a grown man. I still pay for your bills.
But
It's like you work for me.
Oh man,
but yeah, I don't think they're going to redo Nats Qualls or anything like that.
Yeah,
they're going to do typical WizKids faction. Fashion. They're going to go make that money. They're going to have grinders, and everybody needs to go and pop through their grinders on that Friday. You'll see some battle royale play for the people that's there for the ducats.
Oh yeah.
Like the people that are there for the ducats will be like, now's the time.
Yeah.
They're all preoccupied with the battle royale. I mean, with the grinders. Yeah, we're going to go do these battle royales and make this money. But everybody else they're going to go through the grinder system. They're going to do that for a day. Even if they open it up on Thursday for you to be there to do grinders, Friday possibly do some grinders. Start teams maybe on a little bit on Friday, finish teams, and then go into singles on Saturday. That could be an option, but if they're going to stay on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're going to run grinders on half of Friday, teams, knock it out, then run singles all day Friday, or they're going to get up to top 4 for teams. Actually, no, they wouldn't. They want to keep the product on the floor. So teams is all going to be one day. Yeah, it's just all going to be one day. So it's going to be late. They're going to come back on on Saturday, and there you go. And they're going to do like they said last year. Like if your team makes it above this mark, you're qualified for Worlds, and I think that's what'll happen.
Yeah, and I like that, by the way, that they did that, because before I remember a lot of people getting like, oh well, we're kind of doing a little iffy. I don't know if we should drop and just do singles. So they kind of eliminated that in my mind, where it was like, oh no, we're doing good. You already qualified, even if you didn't win. So it was kind of like a nice extra bonus, so that you knew you didn't have to go back and play something else.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, even still, the problem I have is when you drop in a 3v3 and you feel like you don't trust your team going into that last round, that screws your team.
Oh, yeah.
Because your other two guys have to win. If they don't have the matchup, then you've just doomed them.
Right.
And then you unbalance the whole rest of the bracket.
Yep.
The pairings, because all of a sudden there's this sweep where it should be, and somebody knocked someone down that should have, maybe been a little bit higher or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, like overall, like I think that's going to be the adaptation. They're going to use teams as a qualifier, and then they're going to have the little last minute chance to get into Worlds, and they might open it up just a tad. Okay, that's my thought. Instead of sort of taking the top 32, they may take the top 64.
Yeah,
and go from.
Okay, that seems reasonable. So, hopefully they make some kind of announcement soon. I know like things are still up in the air. Like I know at least in my state, like we've got this color-coded system where nothing makes any sense. So I assume they got to work with a few different states worth of stuff and make sure that they're able to have an event at all and whatnot. So hopefully they make some kind of announcement soon though about what's going on, because it'd be nice to try to plan ahead.
It's the same thing as Amber Alert.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as the Amber Alert system. It'll never go down to green.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything is fine. You'll never see that day again.
Yeah.
The moment it's fine, it's like, why do we need this system anymore? No. It's yellow. Be cautious. Be alert, citizen.
It's always orange.
Yeah. This is not a political podcast.
No, it's not. I promise it wasn't gonna be. But oh god. Okay. So anyway, all right. Post rotation meta, because June 1st was, or no? Yeah, June 1st was rotation. Yeah. So what are you looking at for how do you think it's going to shape up?
The current world. I in all honesty feel that the current state of the game in post rotation is great, because outside of 3 mistakes by WizKids, it's wonderful. They should have just said flat out, okay, every Colossal Retaliator retired. We know that you just spent a crap a ton of money on those Tri-Sentinels, and we just finally got them out the warehouse. Retired. Okay. Atlas is like the only Colossal Retaliator in Modern for the, they're in the Retaliators that are in X-Men. We're going to say temporarily they can attack smaller figures or some other silliness that if a team member has been attacked, they can move half their movement and make a free attack for free or something like that. Like that would be a lot fairer. Yeah. Okay. It would still be useful. Like Dark Phoenix would still be, broken strong. But that way you would come into the environment and everything is sort of reset. So when we start looking at the online events, there are 3 figures that I wrote down before we got started.
Okay.
That if you don't look at them, in my opinion, you're going to have a bad day. There's 3 in particular. Number 1 is Chase Widow. She just says, "Oh, it's not on your dial. You don't get to have that power if it's a standard power of any sort of form or fashion." And Amazo was looking to be a good meta piece, and then Chase Widow was like, "Nope, that doesn't exist. No, sachet over there." Okay, her being able to bring in the Widow Initiates, the fact that if you hit her with Flurry, the moment that her last click is revealed, she automatically heals back up before that second attack happens. She just automatically heals back up. She just says, "Screw you and all the work that you just put in. I am back at full or close to full." I don't have any, initiate tokens, but I'm back in the game. Combine that with the Avengers whamma jamma that she can do. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So I would definitely say, if you haven't taken time to look at Chase Widow, do it. The Texas meta right now online is heavy Widow use. Whether it's Widow and Captain Marvel or Spy Widow, I'm not Spy Widow, other Shifting Focus Widow, Avengers, Happy Hogan and all that stuff. Whatever it is, you're still going to have to deal with that. The next figure, going to talking about retail, is Tri-Sentinel.
Yeah,
Sentinel was already a verge of a problem, and the fact that he could just move and activate his retaliation, just made him dumb. Because if you're running a long range sniping mystical team and your opponent's like, "I got him, I put him on this blocking terrain," and it's Tri-Sentinel's okay, it's I'm on a now. It's and you just hear it in your head. You just hear the walls collapsing around you as Tri-Sentinel is knocking them down, and then you're going to see that figure you thought was safe just get lit up with from a long range attack. So Tri-Sentinel being probably the most inexpensive and most effective pulse wave that you're going to get on a team. In a world where you don't have 5 points for a pocket storm, how good, how important is pulse wave? And so I would just be hey, Tri-Sentinel, he's the pulse wave that we shouldn't have, but it's the pulse wave we deserve. And then last but not least, I have to say Immortal Hulk. Lucas has said it on Critical Clicks, and I've seen it. I've played Hulk in those, and I won't say I've ever kicked myself for not playing Hulk at an event, but the fact that Hulk is able to do this wide range of things, and your opponent can just be I can't do anything about this. It's oh, I can, I'm going to go kill your team. It's Hulk's I see my team. I now have like 6 tokens. Prepare for the next 3 turns to be hell for you.
Right.
Oh, you can equip Hulk with all sorts of things to make him valuable. I'll just leave it. You can equip him with stuff to make him valuable and get over a lot of his disadvantages.
Yeah.
And so you have this rough environment where, yes, you do get points for clicking down Hulk, but at the same time, you have to go through Hulk.
Right.
And Hulk has access to on-theme hard to kill.
Mm-hmm.
He just does. Whether if you want to say it's double Captain Marvel's, you can run Steve Rogers and Captain America's with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
So you run a name theme team hard to kill, because I think Daniel Powell ended up doing that in the Texas Shootout.
Yeah.
And if you have all the things that you need, you're not going to go through Steve,
right?
Go through Cap, plus go through Captain Marvel. You're not going to go through all 3 of those in a game in 45, 50 minutes, unless your opponent is playing bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say either their dice really hate them, or and I don't mean this in a bad way. They're just like inept. Like they put it together and didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. Oh, this did well, and I'm gonna go play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta put it out.
Yeah, I agree that Immortal Hulk's gonna be tough. I mean, even you need very specific things to deal with him. I got lucky one time with against him, and I recognized it was luck at the time. He's just there's things that he does, and then like you said, being on the theme team on top of that, and man, think about all the number of times you'd have to attack to get through all the stop clicks and all the rigmarole to just get through the little team you threw out there. Like it's a headache. You're like, who do I even go after? Because if it's if you go after Steve, then you're ramping up the Hulk, and you still got Captain Marvel out there. You go after Captain Marvel, you still got the stop clicks. You go after Hulk, you got Marvel and Rogers to worry about. Like, it's just bad. It's a bad situation.
It's a bad situation, and there are more than enough things that you can look at within Immortal Hulk where you're going to build on theme or off theme. Then it's just like there are 6 variations of Hulk. I'm not going to go into them because that would be disingenuous to Lucas. But
no trade secrets.
Yeah, no trade secrets. But the 2 that have been prominent, at least lately, have been Avengers Hulk and Monster Hulk. And you have retail on Monster, previously. I'm not quite sure now. I would have to check. But
I think you get, what is it, Proteus. Yeah, I wanted to say Morbius, yeah.
You get Proteus. So you have retail on Monster and high theme because of Proteus, because, hey, you just thought, hey, we're going to throw away all these Proteuses. They're not worth it. Now, all of a sudden, Proteus comes back and becomes sexy again. Yeah, Proteus, and you have Wendigos. So now I'm able to combine Hulk with Wendigo so that I have backup to keep the pain train coming. Or I can go Avengers and just be like, good luck, average team. I am just going to constantly bring pressure. And there is no amount of anti-damage. There's no amount of healing or running that you can do to get away from me. I hope you have quad barrier. That's the only thing that's going to save you. Oh no, Steve Rogers brought a oh no, he can't bring a Tri-Sentinel on. I was like, if Steve Rogers could bring a Tri-Sentinel into the Avengers, I would just be like, Avengers.
Yes.
Why not? But those are my top 3, and then there's some other like guys that I would say like check them out.
Yeah, sure. Hit us with those.
On the like up and up, and I'm going to say this, it's a combo. And again, shout outs to PJ Bolin because he ran this. Is Prime Batman with Dr. Fates.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. The way that he's worded is broken. Way Prime Batman is worded as broken. And then add in the Dr. Fate so that you can get +2 and you have a leadership. So you're functionally +3 actions. And you're just swarming with Dr. Fates, and all the Dr. Fates that are 10 points are mystics.
Right.
So you're going to get map.
Right.
It's just a matter of how you're going to play this out. And there are a few matchups that just do suck for you, like Wendigos.
Right.
That just does suck for you. But in those matchups, you're like, all right, I do everything to get Batman off of mind control immediately onto Psychic Blast so I can start wasting these Wendigos. The next one that I would tell people to definitely look at is Ace.
Yep.
The Ace meta is real. Like, Ace kicks in the teeth a lot of different team designs. So I would definitely say look at an Ace. And then the popularity of Micron from an aggressive standpoint of just getting in people's faces, like, he's right back up there. Like, Justice League Unlimited is not a bad set. It is a very decent set. I think that if you were to, like, say, oh, I have to drop money now because you have money burning in your pocket or whatever, you know, everyone's going to talk about all the chases and getting all the chases. But for me, the chases are supplementary to what we're doing.
Yeah.
They're not like, there are only a handful of teams that are actually running the main force. So when we start looking at figures that you're actually going to be using for 3/4 of your time in game, you want to look at folks that figures that are going to be on your board, not necessarily figures that I got a crit hit, let me bring this guy in, you know.
Right, yeah, that's how I viewed the chases too. I was like, some of these are pretty good, but like I'm not really, or at least the way I play, I wasn't planning on like main forcing them. So I was like, I mean, like, how many crit hits do I really get over the course of a tournament or a game, or crit misses? You know, like, hopefully no crit misses. I'm probbing out of those. So, you know, typically you only get 4 actions a turn if you have leadership. So you need to hit 3/4 of the time. It's pretty rare that happens, at least for me. So I just have them there as kind of like a happy bonus, like, oh, okay, you know, I get this guy. But other than that, yeah, just I think Justice League's really good. Micron's somebody that I've been really hyping up for people, because somebody asked me, you know, like, what would I do with it? And I was like you said, I'd just be hyper aggressive with it. Use the Red Tornado that has the double TK. And TK out somebody with a long range hypersonic speed, and Micron, and just zip over there with the long range hypersonic speed. Micron pops over and cracks somebody for whatever it is he can do. I think 4, something ridiculous like that. And then it's like, okay, well, those guys are probably gonna die, but you know, you hopefully took out their main figure. So
yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that I see in the set, but you know, like I was saying, is like, if you're looking at your main, like, you have a budget of $250, like Chase Widow, Immortal Hulk, and the Tri-Sentinel, because heck, a Tri-Sentinel runs you about $50 right now.
Right.
I sold one for $50, so yeah, I still have 4, and I feel I have too few Tri-Sentinels. Yeah,
they're good. I was only able to get one, and I was so mad at myself as I like just watched it was kind of like watching Bitcoin. Like, you just see the thing climb and climb, and you're like, I should have bought it when I had the chance. It was just like, oh man. So I kind of missed the Tri-Sentinel full blown train, but you know, something else will come around. But yeah, I was just like, oh man, before I could get them.
Yeah,
no,
but that's what I would look at. What are your picks, or what do you think of right now?
Definitely the Micron was at the top of my mind. Then I like the what's his name, Dr. Fate, just because of the bonus that he gives. I think that if you're gonna see a Justice League team, like theme team, be competitive, I think he's gonna be on there somewhere just to give a bonus. And then the Batman, the Prime Batman's going to be good. But I think Widow's going to dominate. Black Widow makes it so that a lot of teams just aren't going to get played, like you said. And then I still think like something like Vulture is going to lurk around just to kind of keep the riffraff out. But and I think too for us, what's his name? Human Torch. The Human Torch that has the I moved and now I can still poison. And then the improved movement and stuff. I think that starter set Human Torch has a chance at being competitive on like maybe a celebrity themed team or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's probably what I would look at.
Yeah, I have taken my time, and I've sort of said to myself for Fantastic Four is when I look at that whole entire set, the most meta thing that I saw was the Latvian engineer. Yeah. And the moment I saw that, I'm like, this is where it all breaks down. This is where they messed up.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, WizKids. Like, a thumbs up. Because you have made a couple of team ideas that I want to have work because of Latvian engineer. So I'll give you a hand clap. Yeah. And I will thank you, because when I go to Worlds, you're probably going to see your boy with Latvian engineer on one of his teams. I'm not going to say what it is.
Hey, but as long as we're repping Fantastic Four, I don't care what you're doing with it. Just rep the Fantastic Four in some form or fashion.
I know it's not going to be Fantastic Four, my friend.
Well, it's still Doom. Latveria is Doom. He's off in that corner with them.
I'm just saying, what I'm thinking of has nothing to do with Fantastic Four. But yeah, like they sort of messed up with the Latvian engineer, but even still, that Pog is the most meta Pog that they have made since Mudman.
Okay, so do you just want to talk about it off the top of your head without giving away your team? Just like what it does in case somebody doesn't know.
Oh yeah, Latvian engineer. Yeah, Latvian engineer is dumb for several reasons, which most people will never exploit. First off, you have Minions of Doom, which isn't wild card anymore, which that part sucks.
Right.
Then you have Sidestep, which, in truth be told, they could have just took Minions of Doom off this. This would be a 15-point pog. But anyway, so you have Sidestep, which allows you to maneuver and get in position. You have Defend at a 15. Defend at a 15, people, with a 9 attack. Okay, now some of you would say, that doesn't make sense. Why should I care? It's because of the special powers. Special powers. You know, it's that meme, like, you know, that point. It's that meme. It's like, So it's like Perplex and Support.
Yep.
But only to target characters with the Armor Robot or Latveria keywords. And this is where they messed up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, all of these robots that you made in the last 2 years that are pretty good, you know, all of a sudden they have a medic and a Perplex.
Right.
I'll take it. And even more so, you can't sleep on armor because there's still some good armor characters too.
Yeah, I feel like I'll see like some armor characters and I'm like, oh, that's pretty good, and then I like tuck it back, and then like I never run armor theme, but I'm like, oh, I just note that there's always like a couple good ones.
Right. So that is how I look at it. Is you are in a position with this Pog to be super annoying, and you're going to force Widow to say, "Oh well, you can't use that special power." I'm like, "Oh yeah, take that away," you know, you know, ignore the man behind the curtain that I have over here. Yeah, this Perplexed Support is a big deal right now, right? You know, so that's where I feel Latvian engineer is the sleeper Pog that no one will understand until it's too late. That's going to be like the best Pog since the Mudman. Not as universally effective, but support. I mean, defend. You have to roll a 6 to heal.
Right. Yeah.
Fix the hill.
Right, yeah, you don't have to have a high attack value if their defense is 15.
Yeah. Like yeah, so
yeah, so those guys are really good. Some robot stuff. I'm trying to think. Did Kree Supreme Intelligence have robot keyword?
Yeah.
Yeah. For Golden Age, I might give that a throw just for fun, just for funsies.
Oh, I healed my Supreme Intelligence with 15 defense.
Yeah.
Like it's silly. It truly is. Oh yeah, I got to put that working.
You're good.
All right. Okay, sorry. It said I had poor network connection. But yeah, it's just silly of how messed up that one paw can be. Because even if you just said, I need to defend, it's like, 20 points for 15, defend.
Right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I've paid more points for less effectiveness, so I definitely can consider that. And I like too, like when things like a pog is kind of spread out, so that like to me having 3 pogs would be 60 points, but it would be worth more to me to have it that way than 3 clicks on a 60-point figure with the same things, because you have to target 3 individual figures,
right?
3 individual game elements, I guess, not figures, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely like that stuff.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be a good one. But yeah, so that's what we have for I guess figures to kind of keep a lookout on. I don't know. When I saw that the Latverian scientist, or what is engineer, the Latverian engineer is really good. I'm probably going to try the Johnny Storm just because I don't win anyway, so I can blame it on trying something new. And
Move points not bad.
Yeah.
Like it's not bad. And I think the one thing people will need to take away, even though I said here's your 3 top figures,
right? Yeah,
the game is really a lot more open than a lot of people believe.
Yeah,
I think what has happened is some key people have set their taste and put them out there and have been really effective. So I'm going to shout out Clicksmen because they are the hellbringers of the Captain Marvel Chase Widow meta. Like they are.
Yep.
I mean, to attribute anybody else would not be fair or genuine. Okay. So if you look at how they've played it and performed, they've done really well with the build. Now, unfortunately, due to its success, it now becomes the gatekeeper team. And so all the tech that you're going to have from this point on is going to accelerate past that. So you're going to look for every little edge you can possibly get to take down, a Captain Marvel, Super Rare Captain Marvel, stop her movement, or limit her movement, make sure that the Chewy Pog is not that useful, or there's a bunch of other things like you're going to be mindful of.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, it's pretty open. There's still, like, I know we lost ID cards and we lost some of what people would consider the top tier retaliators, although there's still really good ones left, obviously, Tri-Sentinel and Wendigo being a couple of them, but there's still all that equipment out there that we can use to like cover up some shortcomings of like a figure that could be really good, but like maybe it just doesn't have this one thing. We still got a ton of things to fill in those gaps. So I think if you're creative enough, you could make most figures at least passable to make the top half, and then pretty decent figures you can make really good with all the equipment. So yeah.
Yeah, I think even with the equipment, I've taken some steps back to reevaluate the equipment because there's points in time where I was like, can I just use Proxima Spear?
Right.
Like can this kill something?
Right.
Like, can I convert this into like control or death? So I've opened it up. Like, there's a handful of things that I'm just like, yeah, this is a waste of time. Like Corvus's glaive. Yeah. And dang it, what else was there? It was the tire stack.
Yeah.
Like, I get it for fun.
Yeah.
But no one's gonna play the tire stack from their object pool. Like, I'm not going to lose 3 points just to have a nice object.
Right.
It's not worth it. But yeah, I would tell everybody, go back and look at ABPI. Look at all the gems. Look at the cosmic cubes. And then start, and even the Infinity Gauntlets, and start asking yourself, it's like,
right.
How broke can I really make this now?
Yeah, like something that I've been working with a lot, and it's just to try to make myself do things that I don't normally do. It's not necessarily that super competitive, but I've been doing a lot of things with like mind control and energy explosion to try to force my opponent's team to cluster, and then use whatever the Mandarin ring is that does the penetrating energy explosion.
Yeah.
And just like little things like that, working a lot with Maria Hill so that they also can't, whoever it was that I mind controlled, if they weren't damaged, they can't attack and stuff like that. So I've been doing a lot of mind control, energy explosion work, just trying to round that stuff out because that's not normally something I do.
Yeah, Mandarin, in my opinion, right now, he's like a B plus A minus character.
Yeah.
Like he has the potential to create upsets in games with creative players.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I don't know about grading it because I don't think I'm good at that stuff, but I would say that it's a dynamic figure that's very dependent on who's playing it.
Yeah, I think like, and also your ring setup, because I've seen people go aggressive Mandarin or go double Mandarin and stack the same rings. And I've seen pros and cons of playing like offensive Mandarin, double offensive Mandarin, all ring one Mandarin, or double defense Mandarin. They have both. They have interesting pros and cons. But the problem that I see like going back is with Chase Widow running around, all of a sudden she like points to one of your Mandarins and it's like, you can't use powers that aren't on your dial. Right. And Mandarin's like, wah, 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 wah.
And then he's sad. Yeah. But so that's what I've been working with. Yeah, it's going to be basically, if you can figure out a way to deal with Widow, I'd say that's probably, if you were making a team up for yourself, if you're like, well, if I come into a Widow, this is what I need to do. I think if you start with that and you're pretty confident you can handle it, I think that you'll be okay. Or at least that's a good place to start continuing your thought exercise from. If you start your thought exercise and you're like, well, I can't deal with Widow, then probably abandon ship and start over.
Right. And even if you said, is real life versus online, how many people in real life have a Chase Widow?
Right.
Like, and then you could just honestly say, let's just say only 20% of the player base that's playing it right now have a Chase Widow. Okay, so when we start dealing with face-to-face play, you now have a new question, which is which is easier to get? A Tri-Sentinel, a Chase Widow, or a Mortal Hulk?
Right.
Okay, or you can even say Prime Batman. I'll lean Prime Batman up just a little bit. Okay. Even though he does have some hard counters that are in the game right now. Okay, so once you go to you look at those four and you look at accessibility, Prime Batman is going to be pretty easy to get. Getting a Tri-Sentinel is going to be expensive, but not impossible. Getting Chase Widow, on the other hand, there are very few of them on eBay.
Yeah, I haven't seen very many people offering to sell them on Facebook, on eBay, nothing.
Right.
That's a prohibitively hard to get item.
And so because of that, you're now in a new category, which is, while this might be one of the most strongest teams or one of the most strongest figures, how often are you realistically going to see that figure in competitive play?
Right.
Yeah. And that's how I look at it. And that's the problem with the gravity fees that go to Target is, in my area, I've gone to 4 Targets in the Tulsa area. None of them, not one of them, have a gravity feed. I've looked through the toy aisles. I've looked through Funko Pops are. I've gone where the Magic cards are at. I've traveled around Target, and I can't find my lady. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I went to 2 different targets by me several different times. I wasn't able to find any. So I don't know if my target just didn't get them, or maybe I was unlucky, didn't find them. But something that jogged my memory when you said it was about ease of access is, what do you think about, I really like them, so that nobody thinks that my thought was tainted. The question, the non-prime, as an easy to get.
Oh yeah.
Here's your die replacement, guys.
Okay. So
it jogged my memory when you were like easy to get. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the question, because when I did my set review, I sort of went in a little bit about the question.
Yeah.
And it goes like this: we're having a there. Texas Throwdown. Is wrapping up tonight, or Texas Shootout or Throwdown. I forgot what it is.
Yeah.
It's wrapping up tonight. I'm sorry. Sorry, I don't remember the exact name. I apologize, Matt Donald. Okay, there you go. All right. So when you look at, there is a battle for a figure that functionally is worth like almost $200. $200 for what? The ability to be super cheap, replace your die, and do maybe one other thing.
Yep.
That's it. And 90% of the time, he is just on the team to replace dies. That's it. Okay, so when you look at how much you spend for that figure, or Trelane, Mike, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And even the Deadpool the Duck, how much he was going for? Okay, like $50-$60?
Yeah.
Like something stupid. But then you got my boy Question.
Yeah.
Here, little to no fanfare.
Yeah.
Uncommon.
Yep.
Decent amount of points. Yes, he's not 25 points, but he's uncommon. Has team ups. If you want to go down that route, can be on a Justice League team, is not unique. And everybody's like, nah, man, he's trash.
Right.
It's like he gives you outwit, too.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I don't have him sitting in front of me, but I think he's got an outwit.
He makes his own hindering. He's stealth, makes his own hindering, and has outwit, plus Justice League team ability. And in Dom.
Yep.
Combat reflexes, somehow he's trash. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with people.
Right, yeah, that's why, like, when I did my set review, I was like, he's good. He showed up in my top 10 list for the set. I was like, he's the truth, and better watch out for him in Popper.
Right! but nah, man, it's like, oh, he's not that good.
Yeah.
You can't, he's trash. I'm like, come on, people.
Yeah.
And this is what I will tell you. I'll tell you the honest truth.
Yeah.
And here's what is going to happen. Okay. So the moment, the hot second moment, Q retires, everybody is going to try to dig to find their question. Everyone. And then you're going to see an emergence of martial artists and Justice League teams and detective teams and reporter teams and people complaining that reporter doesn't have any good characters in the keyword. You'll see all that conversation start coming up on social media, because now the question actually has a place, and then they're going to be like, can we get more than one DC set a year? That's what really held Question back. I really need some more stuff to go with this die replacement.
Right. Yeah, and that's like, I looked at him and getting to one of the figures you talked about, the Batman Prime. Does he have Justice League?
Oh, Prime Batman.
Yeah. So he's got Justice League. You put him with Question. You give him a few Dr. Fates, and it's like, okay, this is a common and uncommon team. Yeah,
you have a low rarity team that can compete pretty well.
Yeah,
and when you take it outside the world of ID cards,
right,
you all of a sudden have a fight. Now, even if you wanted to say Dark Logos, Clicks Fix, you're playing Prime Batman, you can't play Micron. Okay, well, if you don't like Batman, there is Micron. If you want to get that retaliation mojo, aggro, get up in people's faces thing going, you can do that too. There's some adaptions that you can throw down with the Justice League. But when I listen to folks and they'll say, well, it's not good because I don't see these other players value it. Right. I'm just like, you're setting yourself up to be, cross-slashed. Right. You're setting yourself up for the uppercut, because the moment you understand you can't play 2 Qs. Right. Okay. You can play. And we'll just do it like this. All right. So question is 40 points. Okay. And Trelane is
like 60 or
50. He's 50.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So Trelane is 50. All right, so if you run Prime Q in Trelane, that's 75 points. You are restricted to Cosmic. Cosmic is not that hot right now. It's not bad, but it lost its big bad boy, fine. And it lost a lot of its retail and a lot of other good stuff that went with it. So Cosmic is going to go through a grand alignment. Yes, I did do a star pun. Yes, I did. It's going to go through a new grand alignment. And there's going to be a new Cosmic team so they can bend Q's little magical powers in his favor. But are you going to wait for that adjustment to happen while Widow runs over teams?
Right. Yeah.
But if I'm looking at 75 points and I have 1 keyword that I can run versus 80 points, and there are 4 good keywords that I can run, I'm going to be like, oh, hey, 80 points. And I have self-built-in survival, and I have outwit. Whereas with Trelane is just chilling in the back.
Right.
He doesn't do anything. Right. Q has prob, but now I have 2 outwits. What do you have?
Right.
You have 1 prob, and you are 5 points cheaper.
Right. And that's not even to bring into account like the 2 Qs are what? Maybe $2 highball? And how much is Trelane and Q? Probably $250.
You're spending like $400 because Trelane was like $100. Trelane was like almost $100 last time I saw him.
Yeah, so we'll just say $300 for the pair. Okay, so you're saving $298.
I don't even know. Did Trelane retire?
I think he did. I think he retired on the 1st or whenever retirement was.
Wait. Yeah. Never mind. So you can't even play Trelane.
Right.
So okay. So that makes it even worse.
Right.
You're playing other Q.
Yeah.
You're playing, and I'm not going to front. I'm not going to front people. Yes, I do. I have other Q. Yeah. I have. So don't be like, oh well, he's talking about stuff you don't have. Like, no, I bought it.
Right.
I bought it for my fun teams with my Star Trek, so I can have a good time at home having them fight Q. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm fair. Did my Star Trek dirty, y'all. Did my Star Trek dirty. But yeah, so like in all honesty, like when all's said and done, you're running. It's the same thing. You're still spending 50 points for the other Q. Plus Trelane. I mean, sorry, so other Q plus the 2 Qs together. You have the prime in the non-prime.
Yeah.
It's the same equation. You're not getting as much out of it.
Right. Yeah. So I'm happy I remembered that because that was a good conversation. I do think the more we talked about it, the more I was like, I might try to make a Justice League team because they still got Billy Batson with the stop clicks and the perplex.
Oh yeah. I'll take that back. You have double prop. I take that back. You have prop. That's what you get. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's just like. Justice League's good. You got your choice of primes, and depending on what you want to do, either Micron or Batman. You've got Dr. Fate. You've got Question. You've got Billy Batson, and then you have your choice. Do I just want 20-point Billy Batson with no Shazam? Do I want Shazam? And stuff like that. Like there's a Justice League keyword is very close to being very, very good. And without the ID cards, I think they're going to be good. It's just figuring out how to deal with a couple little things that I think they're going to be able to deal with if you tinker around enough.
Yeah, so the issue I have with Justice League as a person that pronounced that Justice League was meta before its time, like any sort of prophetic writing, it's like when it comes to pass, it's like, remember what Dark Logo said.
Yeah.
Justice League was going to be meta.
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah.
It's like, give enough time.
Right.
It's like the prophecy was foretold and it has arrived. Justice League, One Worlds. But Justice League has had a lot of mechanics. The problem with Justice League in comparison to Avengers is by the time the Justice League get their set out, the hot mechanic in which Avengers had for a while is already countered.
Yeah.
And now it's caked into Justice League, and you're just like, this does not help me.
Right.
This is an inferior version of other things. And they try to compensate that by allowing them to hit a bit harder for their point category. But the problem with Justice League is not necessarily how hard they hit, is how hard it is to get them to work together. So the team-ups were an attempt to solve that. But like the moment Howard and Easton made Billy, it was like, oh gosh, like just do Justice League a favor. Just take away Mystical. I know it's anathema, and then just let him have Justice League. So people, for one brief period of time, think about Billy outside of a Mystical team. But Billy is 20 points. Chase Robin, Trouble Alert Robin, is 20 points. And even more with that Robin is if he gets KO'd, and you could go target the character that KO'd him and get him back. So that Robin is still good. Now, no stop click. I mean, I'm not going to front. Stop clicks are good.
Yeah.
Okay. But still, like, you have that Robin as the option, and you add in the question. You have the outwit. You add in the Dr. Fates. Now you have a lot of enhancements. I mean, with all the enhancements, it makes the other Zatanna look like trash now. Yeah. With the bats and stuff.
Yeah, and every video I do that's like a Justice League or DC team, I'm like, you know who I'm playing, Zatanna. Like, so now it's going to be, you know who I'm playing, Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fates, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying Dr. Fates because for investing in those Dr. Fates, yes, there's more points as Zatanna. I'm getting an exponentially more in enhancements. And I'll take that versus having to make bats and then get those bats into position. I'd be like, screw that. I'm just going to go ahead and move around Dr. Fates.
Yeah, like when you compare specifically those two figures, the Dr. Fates give you the extra actions. The Dr. Fates can carry. The Dr. Fates give you the enhancements. The Dr. Fates give you the theme bonus. Like there's almost too much upside, and then the fact that you're spreading out your clicks on multiple characters, like what we were talking about with the Letvarian engineers, you're spreading out your clicks so they got a multi-target rather than just hammer down on one figure. It's like okay, and then on top of that, they're taking hopefully the Mystic feedback.
Yeah. It all adds up, and so like in the end, like sort of rounding out Justice League. Could you put the time in and make a really good Justice League team? Yes. Could you get over Hulk? Possibly, but it requires you to tactically have a plan for dealing with Hulk. How you plan to contain Hulk. What type of map are you going to put Hulk on? Can you deal with Tri-Sentinel? Possibly, but also at the same time, you have to realize because Dr. Fate is a mystical, Dr. Fate can be on a mystical team with a Tri-Sentinel.
Yes, he can. And isn't Wendigo's mystical too, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, but they don't have ranged attacks. So so that's where I look at the overall thought process is. We can face theme teams right now that are +10s, easy +10s. Like Mystical is one of them that can be easy +10. When you start playing with Fates, Wendigos, Billies, and Tri-Sentinels.
Mm-hmm.
That's an easy +10.
Right.
If you want to, I think Justice League can also, like I said, because of Fate, can get to the +10. There's a few others that I don't want to necessarily say because I know some people that are thinking of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know Shield. I don't think you can get to quite 10. I normally get them up to 8 or 9.
You can get Shield to a very solid team at 8.
Yeah.
And I would just encourage anybody, just type in around modern age less than 25 points, and then just start looking at just stuff that you can spam.
Yeah. Yeah, like we were talking about earlier, Monster with the Proteuses.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could spam that, get Monster up pretty easily.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about, we talked about earlier about maybe changing some rules or powers we'd like to see changed. You want to get into that, or?
Oh, sorry, you broke up. You said what?
Do you want to, we talked earlier about maybe 3 or 5 powers or rules you'd like to see changed. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'll start, I guess, with because we were just talking about something that was pertinent about it, and you and I have actually talked about this before on a different one. It's like a map bonus cap.
Right. Considering I said +10, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, well, if you have a +10, that means realistically the least you can roll is a crit hit. And if I don't have a map bonus, that means I can never beat you. For the map bonus. So I would think maybe before I would have said +5 because that's the theme bonuses, but I've noticed a lot of figures are if you have 6 of this figure on your team, you get this bonus. So I almost think theme team and the map bonus should have a cap of 6 rather than 5.
I agree. I would be willing to even entreat the idea of saying your plus to roll cannot exceed 12.
Yeah.
So then if you had 2 high teams, you would automatically subtract the highest from the lowest and then reroll. And then, the lowest from the highest and then reroll. So you was like, okay, I'm facing it's a +10 versus a +8. So no, you're just a +2. And then roll. Yeah. And then see what happens. If they're the same theme team, then I don't have any empathy on that. But I think that's the only way to make it still sort of fair. And just saying hey, it's a max 12. I think that also brings some things in where there are some mechanics where it's just you can't rely on this because you can't rely to get map because you can't spam 10-point characters. I also think the other balance to it as well is characters that are 24 points and lower do not count for theme. Yeah. They do not count for plus the map. That just solves a lot of that right there because a team can still be plus 12 if you really want to build a team full of 25-point characters on you. But we all know that a team built full of 25-point characters more than likely will not win a tournament. Right. So it's fine, go run that thought experiment. The rest of us are going to play serious teams. Right. Yeah. So do you have a rule or a power you'd like to see changed? Did you have anything? Yeah, I think for me right now, energy explosion needs some sort of fix. And the main reason I say that is before, when you hit your main target for your base and then you splash 2, I was yeah, that's maybe a little strong. Okay. But if I'm to say I'm doing 2 to everyone and I can't even make it penetrating, then that's a problem. Yeah. Because it's not going to hurt most characters, and you're functionally just saying this is an anti-weenie power. And that really puts it on a a ledge. It's an anti-weenie power in getting that guy that is on the edge that I can't normally touch and killing him or hitting him because he's in stealth or untargetable or whatever else.
Yeah.
So if you're able to say you're able to hit with energy explosion to the main target, your damage -1.
Mm-hmm.
Your printed damage -1.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think energy explosion comes back as a more useful power.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Let me see here. What else do I got? Oh, I got like 2 rulings where it was like the Vulture able to stack his charges and Tri-Sentinel being able to take an illegal action to be able to do the Pulse Wave. Like, I was like, come on, guys. Like, you're making my life hard right now. And, like, for me to, like, I'm not the best judge in the world, but I'm, like, the judge where I'm at. And, like, for me to try to explain those rules to people when they see it, like, for the first time, I'm like, listen, this isn't gonna make sense, but this is what it is.
Right.
And then I just run it down for them. And they're like, well, that doesn't make sense. I was like, it doesn't, but that's what they said.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
And this is the other part that's frustrating to me as well.
Yeah.
Is to be able, the logic is that I can do any action for free at any point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, cool. But when you have a mechanic that is complicated and is predicated on multiple sentences,
mm-hmm.
then it needs to be like these sentences all have to work together
mm-hmm.
so that these effects happen.
Yeah.
You can't chop these up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I had to say. And I know the problem with that is, oh, look, they rule it, and in the past everybody complained when they just, fiat made decisions. And I get that, but this also is, again, we go back to game design. Where are your rules? Yeah. Where are your limitations for game design? How are you restricting the game designers? Mm-hmm. What is the vision of game design? Where is the game going in the next 2 years?
Right, and plus, I mean, not that I always like throwing the terms out there, but like the negative play experience, and stuff like that. Like it does create that, and then the spirit of the game rulings. Where it's like it's obvious that that's not what they meant, guys, and it creates a negative play experience if you're like, well, he shouldn't have been able to activate this, but he was, or he was able to do these extra things. I had a guy. I ran a Vulture team back when we thought ROC states were going to happen. That's what I was going to run at the time, mm-hmm. And he was like, it went off. It was second turn. I was eating through his team. He was like, are you going to be done sometime? Like, how are you doing all this? And I was just like, nah, dude, they're stacking. This is what we're doing. I had to show him the rules and stuff. I was like, I don't understand why it's this way, but it just simply is. And so it's just, and I felt bad for him doing it because it was a practice game, and I could see how that could create a negative play experience, and it's not within the spirit of the game. And I was kind of hoping that they'd go back and take care of those based on those 2 things that they keep talking about, but it doesn't seem like that's what we're going to do.
Well, and here's my issue, is Vulture was invented for one reason. Mm-hmm. He was to take the place of Hawkeye.
Yep.
And I mean, because they realized how strong Hawkeye was at the end. Mm-hmm. And they were just like, Hawkeye does have a role in the game. And for those people that don't know, Avengers Defenders War Hawkeye, super rare. Okay, because Hawkeye, he could keep using running shot mm-hmm. and hitting a target as long as he didn't hit that target previously. Mm-hmm. Okay, and there were tons of shenanigans that you can do to make Hawkeye stupid. I don't have the time to go through them.
Right.
But functionally, Hawkeye curtailed teams that were able to generate tons of spawn on the map and completely out-action or limit or lock down the opposing team with 0-point fodder, while their team, the person running the fodder's team, was able to fully function. Mm-hmm. The problem with Vulture is not necessarily Vulture, but Vulture in equipment.
Right, yeah.
And that is the problem. I don't have a problem with him charging, hitting, and having the kill.
Well, yeah.
But the fact that it can trigger it with flurry.
Right, yeah.
If they were to errata Vulture, I hate to say it, they would errata Vulture based off of an equipment, not based off of what he actually does. Because when you take away the equipment, Vulture is okay. He goes back into Hawkeye status, is like, I'm sending him out there, and he's going to die. You can tell that in how he's costed. He's going to pull this off. He's going to cripple a lot of stuff on my opponent's team, hit the big guy one last hit, and then just be like, all right, here I am, kill me. But they don't have people like us going through and saying like, hey, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is just bad.
Yeah. Hey guys, we might want to think about this one for just a second. Like I get to KO all these people, and then I get 7 charges at the end, because 7 charge flurries at the end because I'm able to do this. And then we didn't even touch on the Tri-Sentinel shenanigans of starting with an illegal action, and I was just like, come on now.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem that it comes in, is all of the sets are made in a vacuum. And this is the only game that I've seen this happen. This is the only game where I've seen this happen, where occasionally you could tell there are figures that are put into place so that they could counter other things that they made, or at least rein it in, or mechanics that they already knew were going to be problems, that they create the problem and sell you the solution later. Okay. I've seen that. That's how most game companies work anyway.
Yeah. But
the fact is that they don't have a 2-year plan other than player experience things. Like commons and uncommons are very simple powers, and they don't have a lot of traits. And then we give them some keywords and all this other stuff, which I will be honest, they have improved on the commons and uncommons experience. They have.
100%. It used to be looking at a booster, you'd be like, okay, I don't need any of these. Did I get a super rare?
Yeah. They've improved on that. But at the same time, when you look at characters, again, like Vulture, they came back and said, we need to have this type of mechanic in there. They didn't want to blatantly just basic reprint it and make it worse and then make it a prime. They wanted to say, like, okay, if you can kill all your opponent's pogs, more than likely it's going to take them 2 to 3 turns to recoup all your opponent's pogs. Or your opponent sent out, generated, let's just say 50 or 75 points of minions. You just went through and killed all those minions. Okay, now you're up 75 points. Yeah, your Vulture's dead, but you exchanged that 30-point Vulture for that 75 points of fodder. Now the game starts. That's the intent. You can see that in the design. But it's real obvious when you look at what else was in that set with the Doc Ock arms. It was like, didn't anybody play test this with the Doc Ock arms? Because that would have been the first thing that popped into my mind, is like, maybe I can get more attacks. Or even say, and there's enough things, because I know they don't care about Golden Age, but there are enough mechanics for you as a player to get additional powers. Like, were you ever aware, like, well, what would happen if one day he was able to maintain his charge but also get access to flurry? Like, I wonder what that would be like. Right. They don't have that guy that's there to just be like, oh yeah, the players are going to figure out a way to do this. So, like, even if they said they put a rat on this, like 3 KOs, he's still punching above his weight class. I would be fine with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, even if they just made an errata that said this character can't be equipped. Okay. Still 50 points hitting for 6. Like, and can attack multiple characters.
Gosh. I am like 80% with you.
Yeah.
80% with you. And my fear is, the reason I'm saying I'm 80% with you, is that they already design characters so that they can't be equipped. Like cubes, like the cubes. specifically say that they're not standard. They're a non-standard character, so they can't quit. My fear is the moment that something pops off, they're going to just slap that on there and be like, "This character can't be equipped," and that's
yeah. I understand what you're saying, and I get it because if it was play tested better, you wouldn't have the problem in the first place. And I'm sure that nobody likes me now, but if you did that step, you wouldn't have to do the other steps.
Trust me, I'm not getting WizKids Christmas card either.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they do care, but I do wish that they play tested it better, so that they wouldn't have to errata things. And then furthermore, if they did errata things, I do wish they'd send Venue like, hey, here's 10 copies of this card that's updated for this character, so that it reflects. If you see somebody pull it, just give it to them and send us back the old card later for destruction or something.
Yeah. They did it for Proteus.
Yeah.
They did it for Proteus.
Yeah.
And
the TMNT van.
Okay, and that too.
Yeah.
And so my issue comes in is now that you've made a side hustle on the cards, from a business perspective, WizKids, it's like now they can't do good customer service. And that's the problem. Like, and even more so, like I said, I think when the cards came out, and I think we even talked about it on this show, I was just like, all you had to do was just say Justice League Team Up Pack.
Yep.
$5.
Yeah,
hell,
we did talk about it.
$8. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. And I have them all and I'm done. Like, you don't even have to worry about all this other silliness. Heck, it would be cheaper because you can make it in the States for dirt cheap.
Yep.
And you don't have to worry about shipping. Heck, almost every country, you could just be like, find someone to print off the darn cards.
Right.
Have the distributor pick it up and sell, send them out to the people that buy it. Like, that's all they have to do. But because they're trying to drive booster sales with artificial value, they created this whole headache for themselves. And it's like, oh, they're not that broke. But guess what? The X-Men set that's coming, we're going to do the same shenanigan because we've had this plan for a while. We're going to sell you cards. That's why we got rid of print and play. It's like,
yep.
Come on. How, like, it doesn't look like you're being honest with us. Anyway, that's the old show. Check out the Mr. Clicksflix episode of Dark Logos that was previous for Dark Logos Rants all about the cards.
Yes.
Click above somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere over there, maybe. I don't know. I never know where, like, I'm pointing. But, yeah, you talked about it on yours, and I think you came on here and talked about it because I was like, you said some good things. But, okay, you got any more powers or rulings you'd like to abolish, get rid of?
No, I think everything else is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think everything else is pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so you got anything else you want to address generally? Nothing?
No. No.
Everything's good. Hopefully, what is it? I saw something for Maximum Carnage, some kind of solicitation thing, and Fantastic Four. So looking forward to that stuff. But
yeah, I truthfully am not. I am not caring as much about buying product because I can't. We don't have Justice League locally. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not going to be the guy. It's like, check out what I got from eBay, guys.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully on the next set, we'll see what goes on. I don't know. But it'll be interesting anyway. But all right, guy. So Dark Logos, why don't you one more time let everybody know where to find you? When generally you upload, you try to do like what, once every other week?
Dude,
I know it's been crazy right now, but I mean generally.
I won't lie. I'm going to try to put something up this week. That's the best one I promise right now.
Okay. That's what I did a Patreon thing yesterday. I was like, guys, I'm not dead. I didn't abandon nothing. I've just been busy. Like, world's crazy right now.
Yeah, world's crazy. My little internal farm got hit by the plague.
Yeah.
I understand the Bible so much more now. The pestilence came upon my crops and I lamented.
Yes. But all right, so okay, where can they find you at before we start getting silly?
Bring over podcast on YouTube.
Okay. All right, so all right, guys, let us know how you feel about anything we talked about in the comments below, especially like the rulings and stuff like that. I personally find that stuff interesting to read, and you know, if you think we were way off base, go ahead and let us know that too, because you know, I like to read when people are wrong. But no, I'm kidding. It's just an opinion. But anyway, all right, guys, that's all we have for you today. As always, please remember that it's uncritical miss if you don't have probability control.